In Search of Tomorrow, the definitive 80s sci-fi documentary, is the new project from the producers of In Search of Darkness, featuring the most iconic sci-fi movies of the 1980s and the writers, directors, composers, and effects artists who created them. The Kickstarter campaign is now live, offering exclusive posters, shirts, Blu-rays, and benefits like having your name appear in the credits, and the ability to join an online community for backer-only watch parties and Q&As with special guests. The campaign ends May 17th. Follow the link in the description and back In Search of Tomorrow, the definitive 80s sci-fi documentary, today. Hey, what's up, people? pizowell here, and my apologies if I sound a bit hoarse. It's that time of year, and allergies are a pain. But the show must go on, and today I want to talk to you about 1987's Predator. Now, I've been asked many times over the years to discuss Predator, but I've always hesitated because what more can I possibly add? Predator is one of my favorite movies of all time. It's a perfect action, sci-fi, horror mashup with an awesome cast, a cool and interesting antagonist, loads of action, and plenty of tough guy moments. Predator is the kind of tough guy, non-PC action flick that they just don't make anymore. I watched the movie constantly as a kid because it took all my favorite genres, threw them into a meat grinder, and the end result is one badass mother. Predator stars Arnold Schwarzenegger as Dutch, the leader of an elite crew of commandos who've been tasked with rescuing hostages from bad guys in the South American jungle. While there, the hunters soon find themselves hunted by a highly intelligent extraterrestrial life form. And Predator is perfect in my opinion. Absolutely perfect. First off, what a cast. Of course, you have Schwarzenegger in the lead, who by 1987 had established himself as the biggest action star in the world. Hell, one of the biggest movie stars in the world, period. A mantle he held for most of the 80s and 90s. Along for the ride are Carl Weathers, Jesse the Body Ventura, Bill Duke, and Sonny Landham, among others. Predator features so much raw testosterone, muscle mass, and alpha male bantering that as a kid, I could feel my pituitary gland working overtime, pumping out growth hormone to the point that, after watching the film, I needed to shave. Dry, of course, because shaving cream is for sissies, and I ain't got time to bleed, and I desperately wanted to start chewing tobacco. The action sequences and just overall tough guy moments in the film are both off the charts. That whole sequence in the chopper with Shane Black, who did an uncredited punch-up of the screenplay, trying to get a laugh out of Sonny Landham with a raunchy joke, or Ventura boasting his status as a sexual tyrannosaurus, while Little Richard's long-toss Sally blasts in the background, is pure cinematic gold. Once the action kicks in, set back, because it's pretty intense. Schwarzenegger and crew make quick but bloody work carving their way through the mercenaries with enough tough guy bluster, blasting machine guns, explosive firepower, and one-liners like, "He's dug in like an Alabama tick," to make your head spin. And just when you thought this film couldn't get any better, enter the Predator. Now, some people may balk at throwing horror into the genre mix here when it comes to Predator, but not me, because the Predator himself, or itself, is a horror. I was far more intimidated by a character like the Predator as a kid than I was by the likes of Jason, Freddy, or any of those guys. You can't hide from the Predator due to his infrared vision, and you won't see him coming because of his ability to bend light and cloak himself. And then he had all those wonderfully ghastly gadgets to make your day go from bad to worse, and the fact that he would take your skull as a trophy after tearing you to pieces, yikes. Then you have the look of the Predator. He's like this reptilian humanoid creature with mandibles and dreads. The late Stan Winston designed the look of the Predator with an assist from James Cameron, who suggested the mandibles. There's also something about the nobility of the Predator that just strikes a chord with me. It's not personal, the fact that he's tearing you to pieces and taking your skull and spinal column as a trophy. He's a hunter and wants to hunt the very best quarry available. If you're unarmed and not a threat, he'll leave you alone because there's no sport in it. Has there been an alien life form quite as cool as the Predator created since? I honestly can't think of one. The dense jungle and feeling of immense heat and humidity both play prominent roles in the film. Because of the terrain, the filming of Predator was extremely physically demanding. The cast and crew also suffered through travelers' diarrhea, it's reported, because of faulty water purification in their hotel. And you can see the exhaustion in the actors' eyes. As the film progresses, you can see them going from 10 feet tall and bulletproof killers to broken and desperate men, staring death in the face with little to no hope of survival. The arduous shoot actually resulted in Jean-Claude Van Damme, who was originally cast to play the Predator, to drop out of the production. That's right, JCVD himself was initially cast as the Predator. The true reason for Van Damme's departure from the film is a bit murky, however. He reportedly complained about how cumbersome the Predator suit was, and it caused him to pass out on set due to heat exhaustion. Other reports indicate that the producers felt that he simply wasn't imposing enough physically to be a believable threat to the likes of Arnold Schwarzenegger. Van Damme himself has claimed that after getting cast in Predator, a role for which he would only be seen in a costume and receive lower billing, was offered a deal by Cannon to star in Bloodsport, the movie that helped launch his career. The passing out, he claims, was intentional, so that he'd be relieved of his duties as the Predator. Let's see, hang out in the jungle with a bunch of muscly guys in a case of the runs, or kick it in Hong Kong with Leah Ayres. Yeah, you can't blame the guy. 7'4" Kevin Peter Hall was then cast in the titular role, and physically imposing doesn't quite do his portrayal of the character justice. And if the Predator needed any more of a push, when he and Schwarzenegger face off at the end, it's friggin' brutal. I'd never seen Schwarzenegger take a butt-kicking like that before, which only put the Predator over even more as a formidable and just downright scary antagonist. Predator was directed by John McTiernan, who also brought us Die Hard, The Hunt for Red October, and the underrated Last Action Hero. So clearly, the guy knows action. Predator is a great-looking movie. The film was shot by Donald McAlpine, who served as DP on Romeo and Juliet, Moulin Rouge, and many other notable films. The pacing is super tight, the action is intense, and even when the movie slows down, there's such a sense of menace and dread, as the Predator claims one member of Schwarzenegger's crew after another, and seeing that fear and dread mirrored in their war-hardened eyes, as they realize that, even with all their training and firepower, they're nothing more now than babes in the woods, is pretty haunting. The performances all around are fantastic, the music from Alan Silvestri is great. I honestly cannot think of one single flaw the Predator possesses. As an 80s action flick, it has everything that made 80s action flicks so awesome. As a sci-fi horror creature feature, Predator introduced an iconic new baddie that has excited and intrigued fans for decades. If you've not seen Predator, by all means, go out and watch Predator. I love this movie. I love everything about this movie. This is a movie that I've loved since I was a little kid. It's a movie I've seen countless times. It's a movie that I can watch again pretty much anytime and have just as much fun with it now as I did when I was a kid. Predator just has it all. It ticks off all of the elements that I look for in this kind of movie. Great cast, great action, great monster, great effects. I cannot recommend Predator high enough. Again, if you've not seen the film, by all means, go and watch Predator. You are missing out on one of the best action and science fiction films of the 1980s, hands down. Please let me know your thoughts on Predator down in the comments section below. Also, let me know your thoughts on the sequel, the reboot, the whatever the Predator was supposed to be, as well as the Alien vs. Predator movies down in the comments section below. If you like this video, please leave it a thumbs up and share it on social media. If you're not following me on social media, those links are in the description. As always, thanks so much for watching, or in this case, listening. I really appreciate it. Take care, and until next time, peace. A big thank you to all my awesome Patreon supporters. I appreciate your generosity and support of my channel. Become a patron today and join me for monthly live streams and have a say in what movies I review on my channel. Patreon.com/pizowell, or follow the link in the description. Say hello to the internet, Jeremy.
Hello to the internet.